Oh, now we're live.
Okay, take it away.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 14 of 3IT Guys. With you, not as always, but more often than not, I am the amateur, Mac Ritter. With us always is the resident guru, Jeremy Lake, and the man with the plan, Daryl Alexander. Today's topics do include quite the variety, all the way from a little bit of the Dallas shooting to video cards to virtualization. So, Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right, give me 1 minute here.
Somebody did not come to work prepared today.
Oh, my land.
Watch it, you. Watch it, you.
How am I supposed to? Oh, I can. Well, I guess I can see myself in the podcast, but you know.
All right, so my first topic tonight is revisiting the topic of container virtualization. And we've previously done a demo of LXD, which is a Ubuntu or Canonical sponsored extensions of LXC, which is Linux containers. And there was an article recently over at the Register talking about the different container virtualization products out there, and kind of comparing them to traditional virtualization. Really interesting read. The basic gist of it is that different types of virtualization and containerization are going to be suitable for different projects. None of this is a one-size-fits-all type of technology, and it's worth taking a look at new things that are coming out. One of the products that's been out for a while is called Docker, and that has gained enough steam that the evil empire from Redmond, Washington is taking notice, and they are working to integrate it into the next version of Windows Server.
Ah, Evil Corp. Ugh.
Yes. And that is a containerized virtualization technology. So this is all getting pretty interesting as it develops, and it is really worth at least keeping an eye on, so that if you get into a position where they are using it, you're not completely blindsided. And all I know is VMware. Well, we don't use VMware here, so get to it and learn this new stuff and make it happen. So just wanted to bring that up. There's different.
So how different is this versus, say, VMware or KVM?
Okay, so basically, containerized virtualization is similar to the concept of sandboxing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be able to use like Linux containers to run Windows. It can only run an operating system that's based on what the lower level operating system is. So if you're running Linux on the hardware, then it's going to be a Linux-based container that you're running on top of it. Likewise, if you go over to Windows and you're running Docker, you'll be able to run Windows on top of it. It's yet to be seen whether you'll be able to run Linux on top of that, just due to the fact that with the Bash shell and different Linux compatibility layer stuff getting built into Windows now, that may become a place where you can run more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know yet. The product's not released. Windows Server 2016 is due out this fall, I believe.
August, right?
Unless
September?
they push their timeline back.
So
So
if I'm running Ubuntu, I could run like Fedora or something
you
like that.
could, yes.
Or if I'm running Windows 10, I could still spin up Windows 7 or even XP,
Sure.
something along those lines.
I don't know if it'll run for sure if Docker will run on Windows 10 or if that's going to be a Windows Server only thing yet. I have not seen any mention of it being able to run on Windows 10 at this point in time, but that doesn't mean it won't happen sooner or later.
Okay.
So. But yeah, there are different ones out there, different container virtualization products out there. OpenVZ is one of the earliest ones on Linux. Then you've got LXC and LXD, which is an extension of LXC. And those are more like operating system containers. But where Docker comes in, they're pitching that as being more application containers. So again, I'm not sure exactly how this implementation is going to happen on the Windows side of things, but they always do things different just because they do, and so it will be interesting to see what they do with that.
So what are some of the advantages though or disadvantages of, say I run Linux, why would I only want to run, Linux instances? Why wouldn't I want to run some Windows stuff?
Well, it can't run Windows stuff.
I know, but why? What's the...
So the benefit is that there's lower overhead. You are sharing sharing a single running Linux kernel,
Mm-hmm.
and then sandboxing a different user space stack on top of it.
So you're using less of your hardware.
Right.
Okay. All right. That's what. Okay. That's what.
So yeah, that's the big draw of this. If you're running Linux stuff, so in theory, one example of this would be, if you're a web developer, you could spin up an LXC container or two LXC containers. One would be running like Apache and PHP, and the other one would be handling your database. So you would have the capability of restarting one or the other without having to restart all of the stuff at the same time, which can lead to, easier recovery times if something goes haywire. So
it's definitely a good tool to utilize if you are a developer.
Yep.
And you're
If you're a developer, they've got different things that you could do with it, with networking and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's good then, because that means that you don't actually have to have like a dedicated machine just to virtualization. You could run off of your own system and develop and test and do all that fun stuff. Cool.
So, anyways, it's worth taking a look and reading a little bit more about, and it seems to be gaining a lot of traction lately. Just the last 6 months, I've seen more and more articles on container virtualization. So it's something that I'm keeping an eye on.
Well, that's good then, because now you don't have to have that big old quad-core, octa-core in your server. You could run right off your desktop, dual-core if you wanted to, if you had minimum hardware specs, and still be able to have fun and play. Cool.
All right.
Without
Who's
really
up next?
That'd be
The
Daryl.
Long Show.
Yeah, buddy.
Take him away.
Daryl, what are you going to talk about right now?
First thing we're going to talk about is Windows 10.
Ooh.
Upgrade or not to upgrade?
That is the question.
That is the question. For the average end user, they hate change. They hated Windows 8 and 8.1 that was technically made for touchscreen tablets and whatnot.
Windows hate and 8.1. Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
Or as I always call them, Vista 2.0.
right,
Oh.
a lot of people are still, you know, in XP and Vista mode, and reluctantly went to Windows 7 for the Microsoft users. For the more intermediate people, we know that we rather do some type of Linux type of OS or Mac OS. We really ain't caring about Windows too much anymore. But Windows 10, to upgrade or not to upgrade? Well, for anybody that has any type of newer computer, you know, you kept getting all those scrunchy pop-ups saying, you know, upgrade, upgrade, last upgrade, you can't do it no more after July 10th or whatever. It was some articles earlier where they said after all this massive upgrade, you know, out of the 300 and whatever million people in America, 80 million upgraded, they're going to start doing a yearly subscription thing. I haven't read any more about it. That was out there though. But to the point, a lady of TG Travel Group down in Sausalito, California, she sued Microsoft because her system to her business upgraded to Windows 10 without her authorization.
Ooh.
Right. Um, a lot of people also is having trouble trying to reverse the process. Mac, Jeremy, you both know, you know, in the PC clinics that we run that it has been issues with the upgrade and with the reversal process of Windows 10. I don't know if they worked the bugs out to make it more efficient. There was a
Uh,
program, GWX, that would go and kill the pop-ups for you to try to prompt you to upgrade to Windows 10. I do have Windows 10 on one of my computers. The functionality seems all right, like I said, for end users. Most people may not have the benefit of what me, Jeremy, or Mac have, which is multiple computers. So, you know, I have Linux systems, Mac systems, Windows systems, and all that stuff. Mine is more for learning and other purposes, but, you know, but my suggestion is anyone, if you do want a Windows system, I would say probably stick with Windows 7 right now, unless you just real fluent at learning and you can upgrade to Windows 10 because it's supposed to has the dual functionality, the best of Windows 8 and the best of Windows 7. And they went back to the Windows 7 format opposed to the tactile approach they use in Windows 8 and 8.1. Um, and if you don't have a touch screen, you know that's probably better for you.
well,
Uh,
I think the thing, like when they went from what was it, XP to Vista, and then Vista to 7, it wasn't that different. Things looked pretty similar. I mean, it just looked sleeker, it looked cleaner, and it looked more modern, you know. And when they went from 7 to 8 and 8.1, it was a huge difference. I mean, I remember looking at it for the first time going, oh my. I mean, yeah, it looks like I'm on a tablet now. You know, it was like, wow, this is a lot different. And I was a little behind the power curve, but when I finally got my hands on it, it was a little different, and there were some new tips and tricks that I wasn't really aware of at the time. But I think if you have been running 8.1 or 8 and you go to 10, I think you're pretty happy, honestly. Everyone that I've talked to that's running Windows 10, they say, you know what, it's really not bad. I mean, it looks cleaner, it looks sleeker, and it's a little bit easier to use. And the feel of it is a lot better. Just it functions a lot better than 8 or 8.1 did.
well, Mac, you know, it was someone at the PC clinic had a laptop like my Lenovo, but there's a touchscreen,
Hmm.
and mine's not. So we both had the Windows 8, and you got to moving stuff around on the screen with ease. And I think maybe that operating system was good for tablets with touchscreens, but as just a regular screen for 8 or 8.1, that might have been a bad decision on Windows' part.
Yeah, I think definitely 8 and 8.1, even 10. I think they do operate better if you can kind of touch things, because I think for the most part, a lot of people still like the feeling of actually physically touching things.
Right,
So 8 and 8.1 and even 10 definitely does that for you. But if you didn't have something that was, touchscreen capable, it made it a little tricky and a little different.
right.
Um, Definitely. And yeah, the only reason I knew how to work on that laptop was, yes, because Brandon had one and I was a little more familiar with it. So, uh, but I think also in the future, or also in the past, though, they had a lot of botch upgrades.
Yes.
Everything, it didn't happen so smoothly. I think in the recent months, Microsoft has worked out a lot of those kinks and definitely flattened out some of those bugs. And it's a little bit smoother now, and I have rolled back a couple systems where it was easy as clicking 3 or 4 things, and poof, I was there. Rolling it back to Windows 7, I've had some people accidentally upgrade to Windows 10 from 7, and they're like, "Holy crap, I don't like this. Make it go back." And it was fairly similar. I couldn't run you through step by step right off the top of my head unless I had a machine in front of me, but I do know it's fairly simple. You go into like settings and something, 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 roll back to Windows 7. Um, Versus, yeah, in the past it was like, what happened? What's going on here?
Right.
So I do think, and I know some guys from work too. They said the same thing. They're like, well, we just run Windows 10, and they like it. And they're like, hey, it's sleek, it's modern, it's cool, it's hip. The search bar at the bottom definitely makes things a lot easier versus an 8.1. You either had to move your cursor to the right hand of the screen or hit the Windows key and then go to search, or there might have been a different shortcut, but I don't know. But Windows 10 definitely makes it easier. They had a big search bar right at the bottom that you can search anything and everything. And I actually think that's pretty convenient instead of hitting the Windows key to look up something.
Right. It says that the Windows 10 upgrades, the free upgrades, will end July 29th, and after that, the cost will be $119 U.S. currency. And they said they have currently 300 million active devices that's running Windows 10. So that's a lot of devices running it.
That's,
Um,
that's not bad.
I believe that 119 number is for the home edition.
okay.
Could be.
Yeah.
Unless you were one of those uber duper life hackers and realized that some outlet stores were selling 8 or 8.1 enterprise or professional for like 50, $60, and then you installed that and then did the free upgrade.
I don't know who would have done that.
I'm just saying. Life hack there for you, ladies and gentlemen. You got until October 30th, 31st, 30th,
Wow.
29th.
Huh. Interesting. So yeah, that's all I have for that article. Like I said, for most people, the end users that's not really into a lot of things and just want things instantaneously and tangible, they may want to upgrade to it for the functionality of it. But for the more intermediate people, we picking and choosing and working with different stuff. So, there you have it. The decision's still on you whether you want to upgrade to it or not. And they did fix the prompting to where it's supposedly a red X, and you can hit the red X, then it won't ask for a couple of days or prompt you to ask, do you just want it to stop altogether?
Get off my lawn, kid.
Wow. Okay, Mac. Take us to your first topic.
My first topic is internet browsers, and specifically Microsoft browsers, i.e., IE or Edge. Um, Trolling around the web, and I found a little article here stating that, um, oh, to date, an estimated 33 million users have abandoned Microsoft browsers last month. So apparently, within a month, 33 million users have dropped off from using Internet Explorer or Edge. And their preferred browser of choice was Google Chrome. And I don't find that too surprising considering I know that I use Chrome on a regular basis. I think it works really well. I like the functionality. It's fairly simple, and there's a lot that comes with it that's built in. You can use them on Firefox or Internet Explorer. And what I'm talking about is like Google Docs or Google Drive. You can use all those, but I personally think that they tend to function a little bit better in Google Chrome because they're designed by Google. And with that, I found out some interesting facts in the article that I was reading that I thought Firefox was actually a little bit more, I thought they had a little bit better share in the market, but it looks like they only have about 5 to 6% users worldwide that use Firefox, which I found that a little surprising.
Low. That seems low.
It does seem a little low. From what the article said, it said could drop under the 5% mark as nearly as October. So I'm assuming they're at like 6 or 7%, maybe 8. But Chrome looks like it's about to hit 50% of the world is going to be using Chrome apparently by the end of this month, or maybe by the end of next month, which isn't too surprising, but at the same time a little like.
Once again, Mac, that goes back to that end user thing that I just talked about, because maybe about 6 months ago, Mozilla Firefox had the little clause on their opening web page about not sending data and analytics back, or getting it from your usage, where we know that Google uses the analytics to make the browser experience better for the end user. Everybody think they're taking your personal data or whatnot or whatever, but it's for their program to make everything that they offer within the Google experience, the Chrome experience, the slides, the words, even this Hangout. We're doing the podcast on Hangouts. That's in Chrome. So that's one of the big issues. That end user, they want to hear now, tangible, and really the analytical data is real small on the back end compared to the functionality.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, there's, certainly Google's probably selling your cookies and preferences to third parties elsewhere, like every other application, unless you're maybe running a VPN, I guess, and trying to keep all your stuff hidden and out of the loop. But I just thought that was surprising. I knew that Internet Explorer and Edge were kind of falling off and losing their place in the market, but I didn't realize that they were dropping at such a fast pace. I mean, they're really falling off. I mean, users are dumping them left and right and switching to Chrome, which I knew Google was kind of taking over the market. I just didn't realize that Firefox was so far behind. And if Firefox does drop below that 5% mark, they could be in jeopardy of, not existing anymore, which, is kind of scary because Firefox has been around for a while now.
I like Iceweasel.
Iceweasel, yeah, that comes in Kali, baby. Kali Linux.
Which is basically Firefox.
It's Firefox. Just for Kali. And I know a lot of people are using Chromium. Chromium is the free open source version that, to my understanding, that Google Chrome is actually built off of. But things that Chrome comes with is like its own built-in Flash player, and other utilities that Google pays for that Chromium does not. Because Chromium.
I personally rather not have Flash Player at all. It's so buggy and full of security holes.
Yeah, this is true. I tend to. I run Ubuntu at home, and I tend to use Firefox more on my home system for fun and for play, but for when it comes to work, I tend to like to use Google Chrome. I think Google Chrome functions a little bit better, it's a little bit quicker, and I know one of the biggest things for me is if I'm working in Google Drive, I can upload whole folders in Chrome versus I can't do that in Firefox. I can only upload files at a time, and I have to make a separate folder in Google Drive in order to do that. So Chrome, I can just upload a whole folder, boom, boom, boom. I don't have to do anything extra, and I can drag and drop, versus in Firefox, I cannot if I'm using Google Drive. So for me, using a lot of Google apps, it only makes sense to use Chrome. But if I'm just playing around on the internet, maybe watching some YouTube or surfing the web casually, I find Firefox a little bit better. Another thing to note is the way Google Chrome has their browser set up is each individual tab is actually a sandbox. So every tab is basically its own browser. So therefore, maybe if you stumble upon a bad website, or maybe you click on something that maybe you weren't supposed to, it's only really going to crash that tab. It's not going to crash your entire browser, versus Firefox, on the other hand, it will crash your entire browser if you happen to stumble upon something a little fishy. So now...
Okay, can I add something to that real quick?
Shoot for it.
That functionality is actually kind of broken on Windows. I have to use Chrome at work, and on many occasions it has taken down the whole browser, not just the text
Browser.
responding. And an upcoming version of Firefox will have that same functionality.
Okay. Well, that's good to know
So,
then. And I know a lot of people will say yada yada about Firefox, so you need to have Flash Player, this and that and the other.
Important
That is
security
actually
message.
not true. You do not
Please
need.
call the number provided as
Stop
important
it.
security message.
Whoa!
Important security message.
Dang,
Please
home
call the
slice.
number
It sounds
provided
like
as
you.
soon as
It sounds like
possible.
you got some malware going on over
And
there.
for the removal of the adware spyware virus on your computer.
Oh my God.
Important security message. Please call.
one of the three IT guys is infected.
Oh my God! Pull the plug.
That's
Sector makes you know.
embarrassing.
No kidding.
Security message.
Oh
Wow.
my
Please
God.
call the number provided as important security
Could you
message.
at least turn
Please
your
call the number provided as soon as possible.
can you at least turn
You
your
will be
volume
back
down?
for the removal of the adware spyware virus on your computer. Seeing these.
Wow. I didn't. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's the other computer.
Oh man. Well,
Is there a little thing that we can put egg on Daryl's face for that little
no kidding.
snafu there?
Can we like blank you out for a minute? Like,
No.
do you see the look on your face? I am so astonished in your actions right now.
I'm looking like, wow.
It's a good thing this was live and all over the internet.
No. You know where that came from? That came from the link Jeremy sent me.
Oh, Jeremy doing some fishing.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I'm running Linux at home. I don't have any of these problems. Good for you.
Yeah. Mac either.
Sure. So some other notable browsers, though, are obviously Safari and Opera. Opera is making a comeback. I guess not really a comeback, but they've been stable. Yeah, Opera. In the last, I'd say, I guess in the last 6 months to a year, more people have been downloading and playing with it. Still, their newer interface and new browser is kind of still in the developmental stage. But they do offer their own VPN service built into the browser, so that's kind of cool. But any free VPN service is still.
Well, it's not a true.
Yeah. Any free VPN service is still a little sketchy. So.
Right. That's not a true VPN service. There was an article months ago when they first announced that feature that kind of debunked that whole thing. But as far as end users were concerned, it provided this much more privacy, and
it made them feel comfortable.
so, you know.
Right.
You wouldn't be getting all that spyware, malware alerts on your computer like Daryl Alexander there. But anywho, yeah, Chrome is saturating the market right now. They're taking over. Skynet is taking over.
Oh, not Skynet.
Oh yeah, yep. Well, it says by the end of the month they should be at 50% of users will be using Google Chrome full time. So.
Get your stocks in.
Hey, I like to have some diversity though myself. I like to use Firefox still.
Well, just go use Edge.
I don't run any Microsoft. I have a laptop that doesn't even turn on anymore. It has Windows on it, but I never even hardly use it.
Wow.
Windows 10 only, too.
Yeah, I'm not. That thing is not going to run Windows 10. So, all right, Jeremy, I think back up the round table if we do the gong. Back up to you, J-Dad. My rim shot isn't working. I don't know why, but my isn't working. Damn gypsies.
So
the next topic at hand is
me.
IP camera security problems.
IP camera security problems.
Woohoo!
So we've previously talked about the Internet of Things. IP security cameras fall under that category. And the latest vendor to get hit hard with this is D-Link.
No.
And so, let's see, this article over on threatpost.com, they actually did an update to it. A software component that exposed D-Link Wi-Fi cameras to remote attacks is also used in more than 120 other products sold by the company.
Wow.
So that
That's-
tells me that it expands beyond just their IP cameras and potentially and managed switches, things that D-Link built. My recommendation right now is avoid D-Link like the plague. And
True.
if
'Cause,
people already have these in their homes, if you're not a security professional or know a significant amount about networking, consult with somebody that does. Get these cameras off your network. Get them onto a VLAN or a separate subnet. Or if you have to chain a router in order to continue running these for your particular application, and separate the two networks, do that. Do whatever needs to happen. But I would not leave these on your network without taking some kind of precautions.
So it sounds like, yeah, D-Link, I mean, considering extends to 120 products, that's like basically the whole company.
And the thing is, IP cameras can be pretty sketchy when it comes to security. D-Link has been one of the brands that's right now, I'd say it's close to the bottom of the barrel as far as mainstream brands.
Well, that's what happens
Of
when you're
course,
mainstream.
there are always these brands, so worth keeping in mind and investing in the IP cameras, but it's a very real threat, and people need to be aware of this, so that their credit card and social security number and other things that they might have floating around on their home network don't end up in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there are different ways that you can keep using these, but it's either going to require some additional configuration or purchase of additional equipment. And do this on your own. Consult somebody that does, and get this issue taken care of, or just pull it off your network temporarily. These are. This is very much a first world problem. You're not going to have people in little outskirt towns of India or something worrying about IP security issues, because they barely have stable internet in some of these places, and they don't make enough money to buy things like this.
Yeah. And really,
But
in those type of countries, what exactly is there to target? I'm not being a dick. I'm just saying, there's not a lot of value in messing around like that over there.
Right. So
there's not much to gain.
But yeah, take some precautions. Either pull it off your network or consult with somebody that can at least lower your risk for security problems. But yeah, I found that kind of interesting and kind of depressing at the same time. So take it for what it's worth, and knowledge is power, as always.
Always. Yeah, that's too bad.
So.
Well, as I was saying, though, that's what happens when you mainstream some products like this. Sometimes they tend to get pushed into production before development was, completely done. So. Thinking about that green. Thinking about that money. All right. So next topic on the list is Microsoft in the weed business.
Thinking about that money.
Hey, if it makes money, it makes sense, right?
This article I found very intriguing, and yeah, Microsoft in the weed business.
Hey, this is kind of funny.
They tried the phone game.
This is kind of funny. Are you familiar with the band Pantera?
Of course. Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah. Oh my.
Go ahead.
You're lagging really hard, Jeremy. Oh my god.
Wow.
It's like delayed reactions.
Right.
Go.
Okay. Microsoft. The article states that Microsoft is into the weed business. They want to start a software tracking system that will track the seeding of the weed stores and track them to their sales point for the government. So this software tracking program is what they hopefully wish to sell and use, have the government use. So that's how they're connected to the weed business. But like you said, if it makes dollars, it makes sense, man.
If it makes money, it makes sense. I mean, talk to any music producer, and they'll tell you the same thing. If it makes money, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, hey, what else are you supposed to do? I mean, yeah, cash crop, baby.
They tried, it didn't work.
The federal government should not be forcing Oregon's legal marijuana business to carry gym bags full of cash to pay their taxes, employees, and bills, said Senator Jeff Merkley. Oh my.
Oh my.
Right? So that was a short topic, I suppose.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. Actually, a lot of people, especially those that may have some type of conflicting moral beliefs, Microsoft go through that. They might get rid of Microsoft altogether as a product.
Yeah, what else are they going to use, though? Come on now. If they've been using Microsoft their entire lives, do you think they're really going to quit? They're addicted to that crap. Microsoft.
Why do you think Microsoft made Windows 10 a free upgrade? You know,
Dude,
the
you're
first
lagging
taste
so
is
bad.
free.
You are lagging horribly right now. What other internet devices do you got going right now?
Nothing.
Sounds like it. Anywho. Okay, so debate. I thought we'd do debate here. Hold on, gong.
Oh my.
Debating, and this was a touchy subject, ladies and gentlemen. Subject. We actually talked about this pre-show, whether or not we were going to talk about this or not. But debate. Anybody who's listening or watching, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and tell us your opinion. But do you think the Dallas police should have blown up the shooter? I said they kind of went straight up Call of Duty on his ass. Now, typically these remote control cars that either military operatives or other government agencies or police officers will use, these devices are typically used to either plant a device next to a bomb to do a controlled detonation, or they are actually used to disarm whatever they're working on, i.e. a bomb or maybe something that they think may be a bomb. Some of these remote control cars comes with nifty little grabbers. So like you see underwater submarines, they have little claws. So do these cars. And they can, kind of move some wires around or do some digging without jeopardizing an actual human life. And in the recent events that happened in Dallas, this is what they thought was their best option. Now, instead of putting more police officers at risk, considering the amount of casualties that they had already taken, they decided to use a remote control car to deal with the situation. Now, in my personal opinion, I think that it was probably the best choice, and I don't think there's anything morally wrong with it. I think that they had to do what they had to do, and like I said, the police chief had said that they had taken enough casualties, and they had put enough people's lives in danger that why not use some technology? And that's exactly why I brought the debate up, was because we talk about technology, and I thought, well, pretty cool. You know what? It's not the first time in history, I'm fairly confident, that they've used a remote control car to detonate a bomb, an act to perish somebody, but in recent events, this one definitely made the media. So, what are your thoughts on this, gentlemen?
Jeremy, you can go last because you the guru. You probably got 24 articles. Um, I'm in agreement with you. As far as employing the technology, a lot of, I don't know, uninformed or heavily one-sided, opinionated people still think everything should be gutted out, human life versus human life and whatever. I think the main purpose for military, governmental agencies and bodies, not only our country but other countries that employ technology, is to lessen the human casualties. All life is valuable. So once a person go down that road where they feel that they can take a life or control a life, then they create their own destiny. And if it's like the police chiefs, you said, he said that, well, enough death, enough casualties, let's go ahead and take care of this, and they implemented some technology. That was a good call.
Well, hey, what is technology for? To make things easier and to automate things.
Right.
So, and yeah, in my opinion, hey, we've already lost 5 guys in blue. You know what? Why not send this in? It's at our disposal. The biggest thing, this is this is what kind of made me laugh about the whole subject, is that some people were saying that the shooter was at a unfair disadvantage, and I thought, well, you've got police officers with 9mm, handguns against a guy with an assault rifle, and you want to talk about an unfair disadvantage? Really? All right,
That's those lesser opinionated people I was talking about. They want to see barbaric gung ho type stuff, and it wasn't like we're going to invite you to an arena and you get to have it out with whoever chooses to fight you to the death. It wasn't like that.
This ain't Gladiator. Yeah,
right.
This was a man with an assault rifle who was obviously known what he was doing and was obviously fairly efficient at what he was doing, and he had already claimed enough lives. So.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah, nuke his ass.
Boom. We don't have no bomb sounds.
No bomb sounds. No. Jeremy, what do you think?
I agree with you guys. I think with the situation, it called for something that didn't risk more officers' lives. To play a little bit of devil's advocate, there isn't technology out there that would have been able to neutralize the situation in a less lethal way. But these situations always come down to a judgment call on somebody, and they neutralize the situation. So, I guess I have additional questions about it, because I've read a little bit about this situation, in particular in Dallas, but I haven't read all the stuff that's been out there on it, and I wonder if there are ways of doing some of these situations without resorting to just annihilating the person committing the crime.
Well,
Um,
and here comes my opinion with SWAT, right? Special weapons and tactics,
Right.
correct?
right.
Tactics
Yep.
being the key word there, right? These guys are specifically trained. These are formerly probably your upper echelon military operatives that have been in, some sort of special operations, i.e., maybe Rangers, possibly like Delta or Navy SEAL, whatever, or maybe just your average Joe
Sure.
that wanted to go above and beyond, correct? Well, tactics. To me personally, I think a Marine Corps four-man fire team could have easily taken this man down, considering that if they knew where he was at and they drove a remote-controlled car up to him, then they obviously knew his location, and you're telling me that an entire SWAT team couldn't have taken one man down. Now, not to diss the police department down in Dallas, but
Right.
if you knew where he was at, and you know what, maybe you could have, captured him without killing him and maybe gotten some information from him. But at the same time, I see the frustration in where he'd already taken a number,
Right.
too many lives at this point. Forget him. We all knew how the situation was going to end. Maybe he wanted to die, this and that and
Right.
the other.
Right.
And I completely agree with the call, but personally, I think maybe that they weren't prepared for this type of situation, and this was like, okay, hey, screw it,
Sure.
let's go with this. So I could definitely see an overhaul in maybe the way they do things, maybe some SOPs,
Right.
some direct
I would
action,
hope that this. Yep.
and yeah, considering yes, this isn't the Marine Corps.
That's exactly where your head's.
Yeah, and I know this isn't the
Right.
Marine Corps, but I'm just saying you have a SWAT team there for a reason. They're meant to handle these type of situations, and maybe that's how they handled
Right.
it. And
Right.
that is where most warfare is going these days, are trying to automate things. They have drones for a reason.
Sure.
Fires missiles and drone guided bombs all the time. So
Well,
But you know, the thing that has me wondering is whether they could have set this thing in with a flashbang standoff, but cut down on killing one more person.
well, I want to add to that, Jeremy.
Yes.
I agree with you in part by Texas having the death penalty. And it was irrefutable evidence that he was going to get sentenced to death, so he was going to waste additional oxygen, food, taxpayers' money, and whatever else. They just held the jury trial a little bit early.
They just sped up the process. Yep.
Right. Now, for those states that don't have the death penalty, maybe having something like the shock bangers, or they got the one weapon that does the high frequency thing that just really immobilizes a person, But that's for states that don't have the death penalty, and maybe in some type of emergency response or SWAT team, they have that available as an optional, less than lethal approach to chaotic situations like that. But Texas has the death penalty, so they rendered justice real quick, from that viewpoint.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I definitely.
This is true.
Like I said, I don't disagree with what they did, but playing devil's advocate myself and being a former military operative, it definitely, to me, leaves some holes in their, their procedures and their, how they operate. To me, it just seemed like they weren't prepared for this, and really, how could anybody be prepared? But they didn't really have the direct action to conquer this without using a $100,000 remote control car. So. And not the Jeremy went. But anywho, I think on to the next topic, because we said we weren't going to get too deep in that, and we got pretty deep.
Well, Jeremy disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Oh, yes, he's back.
I didn't completely disappear. I just turned off my video so I could get something to drink.
Okay. Let's welcome back the Guru.
Woo! All right, J-Dub, we are on Raspberry Pi 3 news.
Okay, so I came across. Say what?
Can we get whipped cream with that Raspberry Pi?
No, but you can't have it all mode.
Yeah, buddy.
So, I came across an article about ViewSonic using the Raspberry Pi 3 as the basis for a new thin client. And as probably everybody knows, the Raspberry Pi 3 is a credit card-sized computer that costs $35, and it runs a processor similar to what is found in current generation cell phones. This thin client is being put out by ViewSonic, and it's available for pre-order for $89, and it should retail for between $99 and $119, which is much cheaper than typical thin clients, which a lot of those had started at like $190 and gone up from there. This is going to run a Debian-based OS called VTOS, which is ViewSonic Thin OS. It will work with XenApp and XenDesktop. So, excuse me. This again piggybacks on some of the virtualization stuff that I've been working with. So it's worth taking a look if you're looking at a project that might use thin clients. The price is certainly right, and I wonder, since it is based on Debian, whether the OS is going to be available separate and you couldn't just roll your own and save a little cash in the process. But you know, it's still at the pre-order stage right now. I guess it's going to be available shortly, but they kind of missed their July 1 original launch point. So,
Wow.
but yeah, Raspberry Pis are being used for a lot of different things, and this is just one of the latest ideas that somebody's pushed out onto the market. So,
Okay.
Yeah, buddy.
anyways,
Certainly. It gives you a little more functionality. I mean,
yeah.
you know, something else to play with. I know myself, I haven't really messed with any Raspberry Pis at all. I guess I haven't really found a use for them in my personal repertoire, but
We got one sitting there.
you've got one sitting there.
No, we got one.
Okay.
My.
Oh dear. Next topic.
Power to the gamers.
Power to the gamer. Yeah, buddy.
Disclaimer for those of you out there that don't know, Jeremy and Matt have been or still is in the closet gamers.
I kicked the door down a long time ago, bro.
Right, and y'all finna witness it. I'm finna stir the honey pot for the bees to come out. NVIDIA soft launches the GeForce GTX 1060. It's a graphics card with CUDA cores, a boost clock of 1.75 gigahertz. Memory configuration is, what's that? 8 gigs, DDR5. DDR5.
Woo.
I just called up the DDR3 and I know about DDR4, but DDR5.
Well, this is GDDR.
Huh?
GDDR.
Oh, GDDR5. Okay. I stand corrected by the guru. Whatever that is. He'll expound on it in 1 second. 8 gigabits per second memory speed. It has a 6-pin power connection, 120 watts top, and 3x DPI, DP 1.4, my fault, and HDMI 2.0B. Hmm. So that's a soft launch, and from what I heard from the pre-show, someone came in like a thunderbolt and said, "Why would you get that when you can get this?" So, what was you talking about, Jeremy?
The 1080.
Right. So the 1060 is like the third card in a line of the new GeForce GTXs that have come out this year. They launched the first one and that's like an $800-900 card, and then the 1070, which is more like a $600-700 card, and then the 1060 is more of your entry level $250 card, but still good for gaming theoretically.
Theoretically.
I don't know if I'd ever pay $250 for a graphics card. I'm not sure what real benefits I would get out of it because I don't game on computers. So, it's interesting. I think the thing that's most interesting to me is that they're loading it with 3 DisplayPort 1.4 ports along with HDMI and DVI.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you can have all of those going at the same time and run 4 or 5 monitors, or if you're limited to using part of them, or what the deal may be. But I know NVIDIA makes some pretty badass graphics cards. If you're a gamer and you have the budget to spend on that kind of stuff. Myself, if I were going to build a system and buy a graphics card, I'd be looking at something in like the $80 to $125 range. So that equates to using last year's higher end model. Now that these are out on the market, so
Yeah, but some people just have the money to spend.
well, it must be nice. They're obviously not in the education business. Because I and probably every other teacher or professor or instructor of any sort that you'll encounter will go on record saying that it doesn't pay that well. So,
Bull honky.
no, really.
That's what I'm saying. The pay and the work is bull honky.
So,
And
but yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I'd be looking at something a little bit lower end than this, but other than potentially getting some of the pass-through into virtual machines, I can't foresee a lot of benefit to spending that kind of money on a card.
Well, I mean, if you are a average to maybe above average gamer, $300 personally, I don't think that's too bad for a fairly decent graphics card. I mean,
Right.
I know definitely there are graphics cards that reach into the thousands, and yes, I think that is a little ostentatious and a little ridiculous and just a bit too much. But I do. I mean, who's got 1,000? I mean, that's like a mortgage, car payment, and basically all your bills wrapped into one month payment. Why would you spend that on a graphics card? But some people have that disposable
so you
income.
can game for a month.
If you're a game, yeah, you game for that month, and maybe you're that good to make that much doing gaming, so it's worth the investment. But I personally, I don't think $300, that's not too bad. I think if you're like an average World of Warcraft gamer, or maybe a Borderlands or some sort of FPS, shooter game, I don't think that's too bad, I guess.
Okay.
And
Well,
to you,
there
that
you
would be, I mean, to me, that would definitely be a higher end graphics card that I would be like, oh my god, I just got the best graphics card in the world, bro. Come check it out.
So everyone officially knows that I have the least gaming knowledge between us three.
Just because I've gamed doesn't mean, just because I've been exceptionally good at the games I've played doesn't mean that I've gone above and beyond to get the best of the business. So
You gotta get a graphics card for Clash of Clans.
no, you don't.
I'm joking.
So
Oh,
don't
oh,
laugh at my first attack on that last war. I don't know what I was doing on that one, but I made up for it with my second one.
yeah, I see. So, what's
Um,
your final topic or
ooh,
topics?
topics. Well, we don't have to talk about the last one. We could kind of roll them both. But so my last topic is: do you think that Windows Defender slash Microsoft Security Essentials is good enough to protect your computer, or should you have something else on hand?
Hmm.
I've heard a little bit mixed reviews on both. Currently, one of my coworkers, I asked him, I'm like, well, what kind of security do you run at home? And he said, I just use the default. He says he runs Windows 10, and he says that he just runs Security Essentials. He goes, I don't go on any shady sites. I know what I'm doing, yada, 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 and I haven't had any problems. So I went, oh, all right, well, suit your needs. I know for me personally, I prefer to have something else on hand, but that's just me. I know myself and a lot of us, we use Malwarebytes. It's pretty cheap and it's effective, and it's done pretty well in the past for me. So, uh, shout out to them, I suppose.
Yeah,
And
malware.
yeah, um,
I'd imagine Daryl will be running that after the podcast is over.
Oh no, no, I won't.
we're just gonna wipe it, Clonezilla, reimage it.
There you-
uh, but no, yeah, I guess it was just a little thing that I thought of today. I was like, oh, well, I mean, some professionals say the standard whatever comes with Microsoft is good enough, and others tend to say no, not at all. What are your thoughts?
I think it depends on who's on the computer. If you tend to be like on my Windows 10, I just have the basics, the default, but I'm very specific with where I go or what I do on it. Whereas the Lenovo, the laptop, I got WebRoot, got WebRoot on that, and I got more active, whether on whatever Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and I may have to go check out a site or look up something on a client's Wi-Fi or whatever. So I got a little bit more protection on it than I have what I have behind my firewall and my router and all that on my desktop.
J-Dub?
um, on my Windows machines, or my one Windows machine, the laptop, I'm just running whether it's Defender or Security Essentials. I can never keep track of which one's available on which OS. But
It does tend to get a
I
little
don't really
confusing.
use Windows that much, so I don't really care to keep it that straight in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I also use a default of that on my Windows 10 VM on my Mac, which doesn't get used that often. I've got that mainly around for running Zen Center, to manage a couple of Zen servers at campus. So now on my Mac laptop, I do have Bitdefender installed because I got a steal of a deal on it, and I thought, well, what the hell? I'll check it out for a year. I think it was like $29 after I got the discount on it, and it's like, okay, well, for $29 for a year, I'll try it. Um, so really, to me, it comes down to at any given point in time when you're looking to secure a new machine, go out, read reviews of what is ranked the best. There are several sites that do rankings of antivirus softwares, and go with one in the top three generally. That's my rule of thumb. But like your coworker mentioned, if you're not going to a bunch of gnarly sites that are potentially malware infested, you should be okay running the default Microsoft stuff. So that's
Well, I do
my
know.
feeling on it, I guess.
I do know. I think Malwarebytes Premium or Home Premium, whatever it is. I think you can get. I think it is 3 licenses for about $30 roughly. I think it's like 29. I know it used to be
Sure.
cheaper, but it's going up and up with the more notice that they're gaining.
Right.
Um, and to me though, I think that's banging. 3 licenses for $30 for it used to be. I think it used to be a lifetime membership of like $25 for 3 licenses. Now it's a yearly
Gee.
subscription. Yeah, so it's my old boss told me, he's like, well, I got a lifetime subscription for $25. And I'm like, well, good for you, bro. Um, but to me, I think $30 a year to shuck out versus I want to say what is Norton and
Like that.
McAfee. Those are what, like 60, $70, for a
Yeah, and they're
year-long license.
garbage. They slow your computer down and just not worth having anymore. But
Yeah,
some people still swear by them.
some people do, and I know I'm a pretty big fan of Malwarebytes. I think it's worked really well for me in the past. It helps me to clean out machines, all sorts of that. And to me, 3 licenses for $30, and I think I'm only using 2 of those actually, so I still got a license open, I believe. I think it's a great deal, and to me, it gives me a little more comfort while I'm at home, even though I'm not really running Windows hardly anymore. But I guess when I am, it backs me up. And so my second debatable topic is I've heard this. I was a little puzzled by this, but also one of my coworkers today, or not today, but on Friday, I asked him if he had his A plus, and he said he did, but he let it expire, and that it's not really as valuable as it used to be in the past. And I was a little baffled by that to hear another IT professional tell me that, and he said, well, it's just he's like it's your basic hardware, and there are other certs that are that will get you noticed more than just your A plus. So he said he let his expire, and he's not too worried about it. He's got a pretty decent job already, to where I guess it's not really applicable. But I thought I'd throw that into the debate as well.
Well, I know from one of these career seminars that me and Jeremy currently went to. I spoke with a guy from a educational institution, and he was saying that some of the programs they offer is the Network Plus and the Security Plus. So I asked him about that program, and he said, well, if you get the Network Plus, that's going to supersede the A Plus, because people are looking. They know if you got the Network Plus that you got the A Plus knowledge. And then the Security Plus, that supersedes the Network Plus. So
I've also heard your Cisco certs. Those are more valuable than your Network Plus.
yes, Cisco, because of their impact in a lot of systems and having that certification. I know some of the job sites that I go look at. Man, I'm talking about Cisco and Security Plus and Network Plus are in lieu of actual degree programs. So if you have those certifications or got the knowledge base to shoot for getting certified in one of those fields, that will be definitely a good shot. However, playing the devil's advocate, as it was stated at our previous institution, that A plus certification is the base industry standard and entry level going into a IT career. So
And see, well, I've heard the same thing, but the last year of working in the industry, I've heard mixed reviews of, yeah, it's good to have, but it's not really a necessity anymore. Versus, 5 to 10 years ago, yeah, that was the industry standard. Now people are looking more for, especially with all the ransomware and malware coming to light, it is definitely more valuable to have, network or some Cisco certs. An A plus, not necessarily on the back shelf, but not as valuable as it used to be. And I thought that was really surprising because, yeah, the whole time going through school, A plus was like, oh my God, you don't have your A plus, you're like alienated. It's like you have leprosy. It's like, what? You're not A plus certified? What's going on with you? And now I'm hearing, Well, it's good to have, but really it's whatever. So, Jeremy,
Okay, I've got a few things to add to this.
of course.
All right, so A plus will help you get your foot in the door if you're just out of school or out of a training program and looking to get into an entry-level job. Um, Having a higher certification does not necessarily mean that you know the stuff from the lower certification. It just means that you studied for a higher certification, period.
Right.
The objectives of those certifications do not overlap that much. I do know there's a specific employer in the Lansing area that requires the A plus certification because of its contract. I don't know if it's a DoD contract or what that is. But let me see if I can.
Well, another thing that I've also heard is I think it's $200 to take each portion of the A plus, right?
Yes.
And the person that I was talking to said that it wasn't worth it to him. He's like, I'm not going to go and spend $400, for some stuff that I already know.
Right. So honestly, I would agree with him because if it weren't for a job requirement to have the current A plus certification, I never would have taken it again this year. Mm-hmm. Because I took it in 2006. I'm in the program that is grandfathered for life, and I technically didn't have to take it again as far as CompTIA was concerned. Mm-hmm. But so here's something else. I'm going to do a screen share here.
Give it to me.
And this is the DoD 8570 certification baseline. At the IAT level 1, you have to have the following certifications: A plus, Net plus, and SSCP. So there are jobs out there, especially if you want to go work for the Department of Defense, you have to have A plus. Mm-hmm. So, it's one of those things. It depends on who you want to work for, whether it's going to be a requirement. Honestly, with my level of experience and what I want to achieve in my career, I don't see that I will renew it in 3 years by taking it again. Now, I do intend to take Net Plus probably in another year and a half, so that will update my A plus to the then current standard, or reset the timer, or however they look at it. I'm going to take off the screen share again. But I would rather pursue Net Plus and then wait another year and a half and pursue Security Plus, unless I really get on top of things and start pushing these out faster. But right now, my goal is to get through the Linux Plus, and in conjunction with doing that, I'm also in parallel working as an intern on a project on the side, which also has a Linux slant in the current grouping of work that we're pursuing.
Yeah, buddy.
That's all I'm really at liberty to say about that. It's one of those things. If I told you more, I'd have to kill you or something. I don't know.
Man,
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Right.
Bring it on, tough guy.
So, and this is all absolutely tongue in cheek, but it's one of those things. I don't want to get in trouble for saying too much about it, but there's a Linux component, and that's what we're working on at the moment. and
Get her done.
it goes into some areas that the CompTIA Linux Plus does not go into. So they will actually complement each other when all is said and done. But
Heck yeah.
you know, A plus to me, I agree with what your coworker said. It has less value today than what it did, say, 5 to 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that is mainly because the computer break fix market has all but dried up. When you have computers that cost $300, if somebody breaks their computer, a $300 computer, the chances of them just saying, well, forget this, I'm just going to go buy another $300 computer is pretty high. And they just don't want to invest the time or energy or effort or money into, you know, a $300 computer that's a year and a half old.
Right.
So you know, it really comes down to being an economies of scale thing. You know, if your average computer is being sold for $300, then you know a tech can't be charging $60 an hour to work on it, because you know you go 2 hours and you're over a third of the original price of the laptop or desktop for that matter. And you know, people in some areas are kind of catching on to that, and you know, making a decision based on their feelings of whether it's worth it or not. So, whereas you know, 5 to 10 years ago, things were a little bit more lucrative in the break fix market, and even an independent tech can make some decent money. You know, the landscape has changed, and it's just, you know, it's like the people that were selling, you know, horse-drawn buggies after Henry Ford started producing the Model T. You know, yeah, they're going to be out there selling their stuff for a while, but you know, their market is going to dry up, and then all they're going to have left is the Amish. And the Amish, from what I've seen, are pretty resourceful people, and the chances of them buying from the mainstream Yankee, you know, non-Amish people is rather low. So, you know, again, it's one of those things that you've got to move with the times, and you know, kind of, you've got to start somewhere, but you can't stay stagnant. You got to keep moving, and you know, at least you can fix your own machines. And that's what motivated me to start in this field to begin with, was fixing my own stuff. But you know, it's
Yeah. Well, I definitely would say that it is a good certification to have in your back pocket, but
oh yeah,
definitely maybe not as valuable as it was a little while ago.
Right. And I think they should really think about lowering the price of the exams to be more in line with the lowered value of the certification overall.
Yeah, I think like $125 per exam.
Right.
Would be more feasible than still $200. That's
right. I think that would be a good move, but that's just my opinion, and you know what they say about opinions, so.
Hey.
Well, I think with that, I think Jeremy's going to take us off the air here any minute. So we would like to thank you for tuning in and watching. If you liked our video, please leave us a like. We greatly appreciate it. And if you want us to talk about anything that's on your mind, go ahead and leave us a comment and tell us how we're doing, what we could do to be better, and maybe give us an idea for a topic. So, from Mac Ritter, Jeremy Like, and Daryl Alexander, we are signing off.
Peace.
See you next week, everybody.